All morning, the Fox 61 Morning News starts now.
And right now at 6 o'clock, we're entering the home stretch ahead of the midterm elections. We'll tell you what the three candidates for governor had to say about crime last night.
The State Board of Ed is throwing the book at one school board, what they found after a lengthy investigation.
Also putting retirement savings into focus. We'll tell you what one expert said you need to consider before you pull the plug on your careers.
Well, good morning. Thanks so much for being with us here at Fox 61 at 6, America Arias.
And I'm Tim Lammers. We have a little bit of breaking news out of Cromwell right now. Cromwell Middle School is going to be closed today because of a water main break. The district just posted that on its website. And again, it's only impacting Cromwell Middle School, but please keep that in mind.
Yeah, so that means all the other kids out there,
sorry,
you're going to school. There's no chance of a snow day, right, meteorologist Matt Scott?
Okay.
Hey, it's November.
Let's throw
November.
Two things out there. One, if it's a snow day, oh my, and second, boy, did I blow the forecast.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't see that
Well,
snow.
I think when kids think,
Didn't see that
oh,
storm
no
coming.
school.
Yeah, that's true. No, you're
For some kids, they're wishing.
You're absolutely right. There is no chance of that here, because here comes the sun, and it looks like it's going to be around here for a while. Mild temperatures staying, hanging around. We'll talk about that coming up. 48 degrees right now in the capital city. 58 is not bad in New Haven. It was open windows in the Scott household last night. Hope you made the most of the free AC as well. Down to 46 in Putnam. Look at the dew points just for a moment, because yesterday we were talking about how it was a little humid out there with dew points getting into the 60s. We are drying out the atmosphere considerably. You can thank a northwesterly flow for that. Really stable air taking over. Looking across New England, we're not finding any trouble, nor will we be finding any trouble. Certainly no snow, that's for sure. 51 and clear now, waiting for the sun to come up. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures running about 10 degrees above normal for today, and they still go higher down the line. We'll talk about that coming up. Cruise control weather.
That makes me happy. Super happy, but my body's very confused. What season really is it, and what month is it? Happy November. Here's the 70s. Good morning, everyone. Not a whole lot to get to out on the roads. Construction has wrapped up in many parts of the state, including here in the capital city area. We are seeing a little bit of delay over on I-91 right in the Weathersfield area. Let's take a look out there and see if there's anything out there. Nope, no incidents to report. That's some good news. We did have a crash over in West Hartford on I-84 West. That has cleared, so traffic is moving just fine. It really wasn't impacting the morning commute anyway. Over in Waterbury, I-84 East and westbound moving just fine. We do have some sort of disabled vehicle over in that right-hand shoulder on the eastbound side of I-84, but it doesn't seem to be causing any sort of impact for the morning commute. Bridgeport to Fairfield will take you a little extra time this morning. Traffic moving at about 32 miles an hour. It'll take you about 10 minutes to get from Bridgeport to Fairfield as of right now. Route 15 is looking good for the morning commute. We'll check back in at 6:30. For now, Tim and Erica, good morning to you.
And good morning to you.
Good morning to you. All right, well, with the election now less than a week away, the three candidates for governor took part in their final debate last night at Mohegan Sun.
Governor Ned Lamont, Bob Stefanowski, and Rob Hoteling all faced off. Julia LeBlanc joins us now live here with a recap. Good morning.
Good morning to you both. Yeah, those three candidates were asked a range of questions dealing with things like the economy, energy costs, and abortion. Now, Democratic incumbent Governor Ned Lamont, Republican challenger Bob Stefanowski, and independent candidate Rob Hoteling all had equal time on stage, as they always do during debates. And a lot of that time was spent talking about crime rates here in Connecticut in terms of what's working and what isn't working. Here's what they all had to say about that.
Getting those illegal guns off the street, getting those AR-15 other assault weapons off the street. Too many of our cops are outgunned and outmanned. Our state police are not outmanned. Every year that I've been governor, I've added on to the crew of state police.
I have not met one person on the entire campaign trail, Keith, that thinks they're safer than they were 4 years ago. We can throw out stats, rape up 23%, the most violent year in Hartford that we've seen since 2003, and it's time to change our approach to law enforcement.
First of all, I strongly support funding the police, firefighters, and all public safety personnel. Additionally, I'm the only one up here who's actually innovated within the school safety and public safety space. with my Verbi gunshot detection system and other public safety technologies, working with police in New Haven and elsewhere.
Now, sticking to the topic, candidates were asked about the Police Accountability Bill, which took effect 2 years ago. That law limits qualified immunity for police officers, requires intervention if they see their peers using excessive force, and limits searches where police do not have a warrant. The law was passed after the murder of George Floyd. The candidates were all asked if that law should be repealed or revised.
I think anything that builds trust between the police and the community is a very important thing. A lot of people were nervous about the body cameras. Now the police I talk to say thank you. You know what it does? It proves that I'm doing the right thing every day.
The George Floyd thing was a tragedy, and the proper response was made. Those cops need to be held accountable. But Governor Lamont, the head of the Fraternal Order of Police of Connecticut, said it, and every officer I've talked to, your police accountability bill has created a sense of leniency and corruption in the state of Connecticut.
First of all, repeal, I disagree. On stage, and I can't speak for my competitors here, but have either of you ever been stopped by the police and threatened and shouted at? I have, hand on the holster. When you've gone through an experience like that, it makes you think differently. But yet I still support the police.
Now, another major topic on stage last night dealt with inflation and how the state of our economy looks right now in Connecticut. We'll hear from all those candidates about that coming up in the next hour. For now, Tim and Erica, we will send it back to you.
Julia, thanks so much.
Well, Connecticut voters have cast nearly 75,500 absentee ballots already in this upcoming election. That's according to the latest count. And this is nearly as many as the final count from 2018, which was the last statewide election before absentee voting rules were relaxed because of the pandemic. The Secretary of the State reported that these paper ballots now being processed include 42,510 from Democratic voters and 14,105 from Republican voters. 18,156 have come from unaffiliated voters, and just under 800 were from voters registered to other political parties. If you have an absentee ballot but have not yet submitted it, keep in mind it has to be received no later than 8 p.m. on Election Day, this coming Tuesday.
And if you're still working on your absentee ballot and you need some help filling it out, or if you're planning to head to the polls in person, either way, you're really going to want the Fox 61 voter guide. It's really helpful. All you have to do right now is text the word VOTE to the number on your screen, 860-527-6161. And we'll send you back a link with our Fox 61 voter guide, which has all the important information you need to know from the different candidates to their platforms. And you can bring that with you on Election Day. You can also find this guide on fox61.com and also on our Fox 61 News app. Again, just text the word VOTE to 860-527-6161.
Got developing news out of Waterbury. Officers said a pedestrian was hit and killed by a car. They said it happened a little after 7 o'clock last night on Chase Avenue. Police did say the driver is cooperating with the investigation, but there's more here. While officers were investigating, they said a second car drove into the crime scene, hit a police cruiser, and then took off, although police were able to track that car down a short time later. We're told none of the officers were hurt. Right now it's 6. Today, the State Board of Education is expected to take action concerning a complaint against the Killingly Board of Education. This involves student mental health resources.
Yeah, this comes after the Killingly Board of Ed rejected a proposal earlier this year to establish a health center at the high school. Now, as a result, a group of parents and neighbors filed a formal complaint with the state. Fox 61's Angela Bavaro is joining us now at the State Board of Ed building in Hartford with more on what's expected today. Angela.
Hey, good morning, guys. So basically what you can expect today is that the State Board of Education, they will be following up on this lengthy report by the state detailing their investigation into that complaint against the Killingly Board of Education. And ultimately, that report by the state finding that the Killingly Board of Education did fail to address the mental health needs of students. Take a look. The Commissioner of Education for the state, Charlene Russell Tucker, writing, quote, "It is recommended that the State Board of Education find there is reasonable cause to believe that the Killingly Board has failed or is unable to make reasonable provisions to implement the educational interests of the state. The commissioner then going on to detail what she calls, quote, repeated failure and refusal to implement reasonable interventions to address its students' clear mental health, social, emotional, and behavioral needs. This morning, the state board is expected to decide whether to agree with the commissioner's recommendation, and if that happens, an inquiry would be ordered, which is essentially a hearing before State Board of Education members. Killingly parents and neighbors, they have been rallying around this issue for months now, since that proposal was rejected to establish a mental health center at the high school, the group even taking their message to the state capitol back in August.
We're just not satisfied with the supports that our students are receiving, especially given the startling statistics about how many students are considering harming themselves, as well as have a very specific plan for suicide.
And among the evidence cited in that state report, a nonprofit survey late last year found that 66 Killingly students in 7th to 12th grade said they had made suicide plans before, and many others expressing serious mental health struggles. The state's report also says the Killingly Board's chair was dismissive when that survey's findings were presented. And again, that State Board of Education meeting that is set for this morning starts at 9:30. Of course, we'll give you updates as to what happens, what action is taken. But for now, reporting live here in the capital city, I'm Angelo Bavar, Fox 61 News.